Good evening, everybody. I'm live, and I want to talk about something serious. Hit that subscription button so that we can keep off in a magnificent way. I have issues I want to raise here, and these issues I want to raise here, they are very significant issues when it comes to African continent. When will our readers wake up from their slumber and help us fight this monster called poverty? Are we going to continue suffering the way we are suffering? At the hands of our leaders, African leaders? Think about it. The white people came to this Africa. They established the treaties and entities, and they lobbed us. They endorsed puppet regimes on us. What our ancestors went through is catastrophic, and there is no measure can leverage on that. Right now, as I'm talking to you, we have to leverage on uprooting the cost of colonial masters on this continent. We black people, we have been used by the West to collect wealth and to make it and to generate it. They did it at our expense. How can we correct this measure? I post there intentionally because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say because I don't see the reason why we should be talking about the same thing, pushing so much content on the media, and yet there's no respondent practically. So much theory, but not practical. We have spoken so much about African problems, theoretically here online, but practically it's bloody. That's why maybe it doesn't go through, because if it goes through, it's going to be bloody. The things, the thesis the citations we push here, the theories, proposals we put on the media concerning Africa crisis, if we put them to practical, it's an uprising. But we are uprising against who? Against ourselves? Yes, because we have puppet regimes endorsed and imposed on us by the West. We have to fight those regimes first. And that is where many will bite the bullet. So if we bite the bullet, who will rescue us? That's the first liberation. Because if you want to uproot the mess that was conducted or imposed or endorsed on us by the West, first and foremost, you have to deal with the regime in place. And that regime in place is the one that is holding the cooperatives, the entities that determines how economic factors are going to be delivered on or at rather. Uprising against oppression, it's self-determination. It's self-determination. I'm determined. What about you? Are you determined? Sorry for the blackout. For how long are we going to keep on talking about uprooting the puppet regimes? Whether it's a coup d'etat, whether it's assassinations, whether it's a political patronism, how are we going to endorse? Because if we don't rise up to the occasion on time, civic education doesn't help. Because I don't see why I should know more about Vasco da Gama instead of knowing more about Kwame Nkrumah. I don't see the reason why I should know more about the roads instead of knowing about Steve Biko. I don't see the logic behind me comprehending the importance of Commonwealth, than African Union. What is the importance of that? I need answers. What significant role does the Commonwealth play in my life? Those are treaties that were established by the colonial masters to siphon the remaining raw materials that are desperately needed by the West. The geographical location of these people where they stay is inhabitable. There is nothing. They don't have materials. They don't have anything. The weather is not favorable. You cannot farm. You can't farm food. That's sweet, edible, organic food. That's why they had to sign treaties with African puppet regimes so that they can be able to manipulate in a remote way through endorsed constitution. If you look at Mother Africa, who is mightily blessed, we are the original people. I'm a Jew. I'm a black Jew. If you look at my features, you can even see. We need to do away with the puppet regimes with immediate effect. I don't know how long it's going to take. It may be in my generation, it might be in my generation of my son or my great-great-grandson, but we have to get to the bottom of this matter. To resolve this crisis, we need agenda makers who are going to set the agendas. And after the phase one of setting up the agendas, who will pull the trigger to remove these puppet regimes and abolish these African borders that were established somewhere in Belgium. The treaties of how to dissect Africa and own the resources and establish treaties and puppet regime, it was drafted somewhere in 1882, the Bismarck Conference, the Berlin Convention. It's so painful. When you wake up in the morning, what do you ask yourself as a black man? What is the fate of an African man? In his own soil, he owns nothing. Abroad, where the white man comes from, the black man owns nothing. So what is the fate of a black man? Is it biblical? Is it a curse? We live the way we live, achieve nothing, live for nothing, no legacy for nothing. Look at all these Western corporations. They are in business for 300 years, 400 years, 200 years, jubilees, generational businesses. And as the population continue growing, they are also expanding their territories. Here in Africa, all these corporations, none of it is an African. They are generational. That's generational wealth from one generation to another. Show me one multinational African corporation, apart from government parastatals. Show me one successful corporation that is owned by a black man, apart from Aliko Dangote, who is trying to do things African way, and Motsepe in South Africa. Who else? And they have not even invested in Europe because it's like almost impossible to invest there as a black man. Show me. Do you know how I get agitated on these matters? Hit on that subscription button. We're gonna talk more and more and more concerning this African dilemma that cannot be solved by my generation, not even generation to come. I don't know which generation. The moment the people who are setting academia curriculum stops teaching and examining me if I'm aware of existence of Vasco da Gama journey in Africa, roads in Zimbabwe, Macnon and the creation of the Suez Canal. The moment I'll see most of the history and academia curriculum is more of 90% African, and questions are more 90% African, I will know we are beginning the journey that is going to take us somewhere. Not somewhere near revolution, somewhere near uprising, mental and spiritual uprising. Another 100 years of physical uprising, because physical uprising is militancy. Anyway, I just wanted to mention something. And you have heard what I've said. Give me a criteria to set the agenda by hitting the subscription button, because the movement has begun. And this is just the beginning of a long journey ahead that requires you commenting below, subscribing, and share, in order for me to be in a better position to open a big studio that will involve we Africans to discuss these decades in the society. Because if we don't watch out, in the next 25 years, Chinese are the next colonizer of Africa. Ask me how, and I will answer you.